Welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas. And today we're recording episode, I don't know, 131, something like that. I don't know. And today I have with me Torey Maertz. I,
Maertz. Yep.
Maertz. I
Close,
actually
man.
remembered to ask you how to say your last name,
Yeah.
which I very rarely remember. And Torey Maertz, who is co-founder and CEO, or rather founder. I'm so used to saying co-founder.
Well, co-founder.
Founder.
No. My brother co-founded the company with me. So
Okay,
yeah,
perfect,
you're
perfect.
right on, man.
Founder and CEO of Rocket Referrals in my beloved state of Iowa. Uh,
Yes.
and we are recording on February 17th in the middle of Snowmageddon, Ice-mageddon. I happen to be in Atlanta, Georgia, where we did not get hit. We're one of the two states that is pretty untouched. How's the weather now? I mean, you guys are pretty
It's
used to it, but
yeah,
how
we're definitely used to it. I'm starting to see some flurries right now, and it's freezing cold. Like
do you have a ton of
very,
snow on
very
the
cold.
ground?
Yeah, we have probably I mean, there's probably a foot on the ground, but it's
Okay, so
not
that's
fresh.
not
It's not
so that,
fresh.
that's not unusual. It's just colder
No.
than usual.
Very cold, yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
went to pump gas the other day, and it was so cold. I touched the metal handle; it like singed my hands. It's so freaking cold.
But by the way, for the listeners, if you are listening to the audio version or the true podcast version, and you've never watched the video version on YouTube, I recommend you check out the video version because we have recently upgraded our video quality, and it's now absolutely just gorgeous recording quality. So if you've never watched it on the YouTube side, check it out. Insurance Nerds YouTube channel, and do subscribe, please. So Tori, what is Rocket Referrals?
I love to kind of explain it like we do everything we possibly can to help an agency get their customers to stay longer, buy more, and refer their friends, right?
Okay,
So
those sound like good things. Absolutely.
it's a lot of good things.
Uh huh.
And the whole idea behind everything that Rocket Referrals is built on is to make that as easy as possible. There's a lot of different things that you kind of have to connect. One company might do this tool, one company might do another thing, one company might have a CRM or different pieces of communication. We like to kind of wrap it all up into a nice little bundle and then put a whole bunch of automation on it and data connection to the management systems and let it run and do its thing. And we build a lot of best practices into it so agents don't have to worry about what to say, who to say, when to say it. We just kind of take care of it for them.
Okay.
Sounds like
Okay.
a magic pill, right?
Okay. So yeah, I've never worked in an agency, but
Mm-hmm.
I have helped many agencies as a sales manager, as an underwriter,
Yep.
with insurance nerds. I've had many agency side people on the podcast and agency side insure techs on the podcast. And my girlfriend works for one of the global brokers, so
Awesome.
I do know that side of the game well.
Yep.
So if I am Uh, I'm trying to remember the name of my agent when I was in Iowa, and I cannot. Okay, so if I'm Bob
John.
Woods,
Yeah. Yeah.
Farm Bureau, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, how and I have very little technology right now. I'm 55 and
Yeah.
maybe if I'm lucky, my son is looking to take over, or my
Yep.
daughter, or maybe we'll sell. But right now I have an AMS and that's it.
Yeah. That's exactly where we came from. I mean, back in the day when we started, the company, maybe 2013, I think, when we really first started, what we did is we sat down in insurance agent's office, just like the one that you're explaining, and we're looking at all the technology that they had, and we're talking with the people that are in there, and we say, how do we help, this person get going on the things that they need to do. We're saying, hey, you need to communicate with your customers on a regular basis. You need to survey them. You need to send them loyalty communication. You need to do all of these things. And then, they would kind of lean back in their chair and like, Torey, man, I just want to sell insurance. How do you help me do this? So we
Okay.
look at that management system, right, that they have. And we say, hey, how can we integrate that management system to pull the data. And then we have all these cool fancy algorithms that are saying, hey, this customer is likely to buy more. Let's send them, a cross-sell campaign. This customer over here is about ready to leave. Let's alert the agent to that. And, really just do it for the agent, build all those best practices in with just a couple flips of a switch, I mean, that's the goal. That's what we want to try and do.
Okay, and that's I did not realize that you guys were a really old insurtech, like an insurtech from before we had the word insurtech.
That's very
Uh,
true. Yeah.
so that does make me very curious. How how did you end up coming into how did you get the idea to
Yeah.
do this?
So, it's, I am definitely an entrepreneurial spirit. I'm always looking for the next greatest thing. And I think a lot of ideas that I have had in the past are thinking way too far in the future. I'm seeing problems that people don't even know they have. And I started this company with my brother, Carl. And at the time, he was an officer in the army. He's literally in Afghanistan. And we're having conversations. It's real late for me, it's early for him. And we're talking on the phone about, man, I can't work for corporate America anymore. They move too slow. We need to be able to do these things. And he's, it's like, man, it's really tough to make any change in the army too. So what do we do? Well, let's build a company. And instead of saying, hey, let's do some great idea, we said, let's think about how we can solve a problem. Right. So we went out and spoke with a bunch of independent insurance agents. Why independent insurance? Well, we're in Des Moines, Iowa. There's a lot of insurance in Des Moines. I don't even have to explain that, right? And I used to work at Principal. I have a lot of connections in insurance. So, and plus, any independent agent that you call is going to talk to you. They want to have that conversation with you, right? So we called up a bunch of people, and we essentially started probing and looking for problems. And what we found is there's a ton of people that an agency has a ton of people that are willing to refer them, willing to talk about them, willing to really build that word of mouth, but the agent wasn't really doing anything to incite that or to make it happen. They thought that it was just happenstance that people would start referring me and start talking about me on social. And so that's really where Rocket Referrals came from. The initial idea was, we are going to help you communicate with your customers to get more referrals, because we all know that, and if a customer gives you a referral, you're likely to sell it. Those referrals will close every time. And over time, what we found is, if you focus on customer communication, that's going to drive more referrals. You can also do cross sales, and you can do, more reviews online, and you can, improve retention, and essentially, what those three things that I talked about before: buy more, stay longer, and refer your friends. That's really the three components that we're focused on.
And does it plug into all the major AMS systems?
Yeah, that's the goal. And I think that, we have been one of the companies that have really pushed, in terms of management systems, go and open availability to make it possible for an insurance agent to be able to connect to whatever platform they want. I really truly believe that every agent has the right to be able to use any software that they want to on top of their management system. And it's really frustrating for me to see management systems that, people would say are closed, or that charge big fees, or have some kind of, thing connected. And it's not good for the industry. It's not good for the industry to be able to do that. There's a few management systems that are open, and it's awesome, and I love to see it. And we work more with them, and their agents are killing it, because they have access to all the different tools like us.
Yeah, the best tool for the job, rather than the one that's compatible with
Right,
and that is paying a
exactly.
licensing fee to be compatible to
Yeah, and I love it. I talk with competitors all the time, because I feel like we need to communicate for the industry. I look at what we're doing as being good stewards for the industry, that if we work together, there's plenty of room for everybody. There doesn't need to be just one email communication tool, right? There should be as many as there can be. And I want that to happen, because this industry needs to work together to really grow and to improve and get better.
well, and this is such a gigantic industry that
Yeah,
the yeah, it you could build a solid business only with State Farm agents, right?
yeah, yeah,
Only with other that would be more than enough to build like a $1 billion company,
yeah,
just serving those agents,
yeah,
and Yeah, there's just there's enough business for everybody. No question about that. So I am curious, since you guys have been around for so long, and the good old Midwestern boys, did you bring in venture capital, or
Yeah, this is
are
a
you
really cool.
bootstrapped?
Yeah, we're 100% bootstrapped. My brother and I, invested a little bit of money. And when I say a little bit of money, we both put in $4,500, right? I bought a domain name. I know how to program, so I did all the coding. My brother and I worked on all the marketing, communications, everything. Really grew this from, employee two to, we're over 30, well over 30 people now and growing.
Awesome.
And
Awesome. I
yeah,
I really and I asked that a little bit nervously because I did not ask him that before we started recording.
yeah,
But I like that because you have no pressure to IPO, you have no
yeah,
pressure to sell, you have
yeah.
no pressure to sell it off, right? Because
Hmm.
if I'm an agent, like, I don't want to buy your product and then have you get bought out by then have you be bought out like by Applied,
Yeah.
like so many
Yep.
other tools.
Yep.
I don't want the service to change because you got bought out,
Yeah, I
or because you
really,
IPO'd and now you have to worry about Wall Street analysts.
this is a really fun thing for us because, my brother Carl and I have been so focused on customer experience and providing the best possible experience to our agents, the best possible product that, we don't focus on what competitors are doing or what other people are doing. We just do what's right. And we love building new things and solving new problems. And I really think that it's changing things. I really see that people are starting to do what we're doing, and it's really exciting to see that happen. And we're hopefully trying to get people to level up, to think a little bit, better, provide agents better experience, and agents provide their customers better experience. It's a lot of fun. I mean, we have millions and millions of customer records in our system. And it's really exciting to me to think that we have thousands of agents that we're working with, and they're providing better customer experience to all those customers. Like, we're literally changing the landscape of how people work with their agent. And, um, you probably have an agent that's received communication from us and didn't even know it. And that's a fun thing, that I think is really great.
Excellent, excellent. If I understand correctly, you can work both with just an agency,
Yeah.
or you can also
Yeah.
work with the carrier, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep. Yeah. So we have lots of different versions of our product, that will work all the way down to the smallest agency that might just be one person, to the largest carriers that's, are going to have lots of different ways that they do distribution. That could even be distribution through other independent agents or through, their captive sides as well. And, the way that our software works is every agent sort of gets the same experience, but then it can be controlled or, kind of managed for compliance and all kinds of other ways up here and distributed down other
well,
ways.
that's
So
fantastic. Compliance
yeah,
wise, that's huge,
yeah. So
huge.
that's one of the things from coming from a corporate background, and, things that we make sure to cross all the T's and dot all the I's, or dot all the I's and cross all the T's, and then still make sure that the agent and the customers have the best possible experience that you can. I think a lot of times when you get into these corporate tools and enterprise level software, they become so hard to use because there's a lot of restrictions and things. But we work really hard to make sure that we provide the best experience on top of those too, so that you kind of get the best of both worlds.
Fantastic. So I don't know how much you want to talk about the pricing, but I'm
Yeah.
guessing it's a per seat type of agreement.
Well, we're trying to change the game there too, man. I think that a lot of times when people buy software like this, they're used to setup fees and contracts and all that kind of stuff. But when you're a consumer and you buy something that's completely different, I just want to pay for it every month and continue to use it, or continue to pay for it as long as it's working. So we're month to month.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love that. I
yeah,
really, really love
yeah,
that. Myself in my own life, right? I do a lot of things,
yeah,
and on the insurance nerd side, I'm really bootstrapped. I'm really so I'm a big fan of tools that I can jump in and pay the monthly
Yeah.
fee, and then
And not worry
if it's
about,
not
yeah,
producing,
yeah, exactly.
I'm
Just
not
get rid of
stuck
it.
to an expensive
And you know,
contract.
for us, what that means is we have to continue to produce every month, continue to innovate and get better. Like, I don't want to feel like I have a bunch of people that are only using the product because they signed a contract and they kind of have to. Like, I would, if I would hate that, I would feel dirty, you know, like I'm not going to do that.
You're Midwestern nice. 'Cause you're
Yeah,
from
that's what it
Iowa.
is. Yeah.
Of
Yep.
course.
Yep.
Of course. Even though you went to the wrong school in Iowa.
Yeah. But my daughter goes to Iowa State. So
Yes. So
for
we
everybody
had
who's listening, he's saying that I
exactly
went to Iowa.
we had that conversation before we started that he went to the much more successful football program at the University of Iowa,
Yep.
while his daughter and myself
Yep.
were wiser and actually went to the good school
Yep.
of Iowa State. Go Cyclones! Funnily enough, I'm not a football fan. Uh,
I'm not really either,
but
unfortunately.
this is the rare year where like the Cyclones actually did well.
Yeah.
So yeah, go Cyclones. So principal,
Hmm.
and now Rocket Referral since
Yeah.
2013,
Yep.
growing
Yep.
to about 30 people.
Yeah.
And before that, you were basically IT. What was Nest LLC?
Oh, Nest. Oh man. So, you know, I wonder if any listener ever had a Palm Pre phone or a WebOS based cell
I've
phone. If you
heard of.
guys,
So
yeah,
I had a Palm, but not a phone. I
yeah,
had a Palm like
yeah,
PDA
uh-huh, yeah,
in college in
yeah.
2002.
So
And okay,
again, going
uh-huh.
back to like big ideas I've had in the future, or that we're thinking too far ahead. They released this phone. It's called the Palm Pre, and it had a brand new OS on it. It's called WebOS. And I remember watching the demo of this phone, and this was like back when iPhone and Android were kind of just starting, and they were
Okay,
really like
so this
battling,
was
right?
the end of the BlackBerry era, where
Yeah,
we didn't
yep,
know who the ruling
yeah.
party was going to be. Okay.
So WebOS came out, and what was cool about it is it allowed you to build apps using web technology like HTML and JavaScript and things like that.
Okay.
And
Did the
that
iPhone
the
have
iPhone did
apps?
not have that. They had some web apps, but it wasn't like installed on the phone like WebOS,
Okay.
right? And Android didn't really have web-based apps either. I mean, you
Hmm.
could through the web browser, but it wasn't like installed on the phone and access to all the phone's APIs. Anyway, I saw the demo of this WebOS, and the way that they were, you know, it all worked and the apps installed. I'm like, wow, that's freaking awesome. The problem is the phone came out, the actual hardware was just junk, you know, so it just ended up breaking down. So what Nest was is a company that helped educate developers on how to build apps for this WebOS platform. And now I think WebOS is like in LG TVs or something now. I'm not quite sure who bought them, but now that OS is on TVs and not cell phones. So
Okay. Okay. So anything so you did that. Then you went to
yep,
principal,
yeah,
took the corporate route, put on the tie. Well, I don't know if
yep,
on the IT side you guys wore ties,
yeah,
but the closest thing to a tie,
yep,
and did that for 6 years, and then founded this. So
yeah,
I'm sure that a lot of what you saw at principal ended up
yeah.
either
So
teaching you what to do or what not to do.
yeah,
Uh,
when I was at Principal, I created what we call our user experience team. You know, this was back in the day when having a user experience team at an insurance company was like, why would I do that? You know, why do I need to worry about what my forms and things look like? And I'm telling everybody, hey, we got to design our UIs better because how you design a UI can change how well things enroll. You know, like how things happen. Like you could improve the number of people that enroll in the 401k and
yeah,
just to,
you were
yeah,
speaking in Greek for sure for the insurance
yeah,
industry.
exactly. And so we built this UX team, and it's awesome. It's still there today. It's amazing. But along with UX, you get into the psychology of things, like why people use a specific UI, you know, a certain way, or why one color works better than another, how to order things. And that's really what I loved about that job. And I was combining design with IT because I was a programmer, right? So I love design, I love to make things. So when you have kind of both, it's a lot of fun because you can really make anything.
Okay. So I'm curious. Often I ask, do you have any advice for the next young insurtech founder?
Yeah,
And I'll definitely ask you that one.
sure.
Although you guys, right, you guys are pre-insurtech really, or at the very,
Yeah.
very, very, very beginning before we
We
even
were
called it insurtech.
mentors for the Global Insurance Accelerator here
Perfect.
in
So
Des Moines.
so so
Yeah,
so so tell me about that experience with
yeah,
GIA, and
yeah.
based on what you saw there, what advice do you have for young potentially insurtech founders today?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we did at Rocket Referrals, and I encouraged everybody at GIA to do and other places to really validate that you can get over your weaknesses. So when we started Rocket Referrals, my brother Carl and I, the one thing that neither of us had was sales experience, but we knew if we were going to sell this product, we
Probably the
needed to,
hardest part of an insurtech.
yeah, we needed to be able to sell it, So before we wrote a single line of code, we took the idea of what the product was to make sure we had our message right. We went out to people and we said, hey, this is what Rocket Referrals is. We're going to we're going to automate these 13 tactics and you're going to get more referrals or something like that. And we started to get people writing checks. They were saying, yeah, sign me up. And I'm like, well, we have to build it first. So if we can get someone to buy our software before it was ever built, then we knew we had something, right? There wasn't anything else they could go get. We knew that they were going to pay for it, and that's what we really wanted to do. So that's my best advice I give anybody. And also, don't be afraid to say my idea sucks, or like, I'm not going to be able to sell this. Don't get so attached to it that you can't, that you're going to basically fail just trying to do it. So try and sell it. If you can get people to buy it before you build it, then that's the best thing you can ever ask for.
Yeah, hard to hard. That's the mic drop right there.
Yeah.
That's fantastic advice. What the number one thing I see as an spectator, right? Well, I do help some insurtechs with staffing, and I have many of them on the podcast. The number one thing I see that goes wrong is they underestimate severely how long it will take to sell, right? It's a 2-year sell cycle into the carrier space. Agency side probably a little better, but 2 year sell cycle into the carrier space. It's very easy to run out of money before. The other thing that I see happen is they get interest, right? So they go to the Connected Claims conference, and if they're in the claims space, for example, and they connect with, I don't know, whatever carrier, and the carrier appears interested, and they have a couple of in-person meetings, and right, the startup thinks that the contract is that the ink's almost dry, and they staff up in order to be ready, and then it drags on for 18 months, and they run out of money, right? Before it actually gets signed.
There's a lot of time that takes. I mean, we've obviously been in that as well, which is, the interesting thing about us is that we really had contingency, right? We know that there's a lot of opportunity at the carrier side, and they have a lot of benefit as well. Carriers can benefit a lot from this, but we knew that we had to get into the agents first to be able to prove that it works. So also, one of the things that can accelerate things at the carrier side is if you have proven success, even if it's at a small level, and you say, well, look at the success here. Imagine if we multiplied that by 1,000, right? What you're going to get. So that's what we did, and I think that it worked out really well. What ended up happening is we have built such a grassroots thing with agents. Now agents are going to carriers and agents are selling it for us. They're like, hey, you need to do this for everyone. And
that is fantastic.
Yeah, that's, I think, one of the funnest things about it though, is to just don't worry about the carriers. That's going to come if you talk to the agents.
Okay. Oh, awesome. So when this goes live, I will tag you on LinkedIn on it. So people will
Cool.
be easy to it'll be easy to reach out to you there. I'm sure there's a contact us form or whatever on the website.
Yep. Yep.
So if I am for the listener that's an agency principal or that runs an agency and is interested, how quickly can you get us on the platform?
Yeah, I think almost instantly, right? The idea is you sign up at rocketreferrals.com, you connect your management system, you literally hit the approve, and you start seeing some results the next day.
Okay, perfect. So
yeah,
you don't have to get a server to my office and
no, we don't mess around with that
all
stuff.
Cloud based.
Yeah, yeah,
beautiful.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is we want people to get some kind of feel good thing right away, so turn it on, literally no configuration, just let it go. It depends on what your management system is. If you have one of those management systems that I was talking about before that's kind of closed, then there's some things that we got to go through, but it might be time to start thinking about going to a management system that's a little bit more open. But
I'll introduce you to a sales rep.
Yeah, so we think that again, going back to the management system, there's a lot of room for improvement there. That's a conversation for a whole nother day. So
yeah, I think I've had a couple of those of people that are building AMS replacements.
Yeah.
And I have at least one friend that's where I just interviewed them. It hasn't gone live, but I just interviewed one set of guys that are trying to build an AMS for small agencies. And what about if I'm a carrier? If I'm a carrier, do I have to be API ready? Or
so one of the things we love about our enterprise relationships is that we take on a lot of that API work ourselves. If you have a way that you're working with someone else, we'll adapt to that already. If you're sending data into one company and you want to just change an endpoint to Rocket Referrals, we'll make it work. We have built a really cool data import platform. If you think about it, we work with all these management systems and all these carriers and all these things already. Everything has got to kind of funnel in and get down into a standardized piece of data that we know how to work with it. So we have all kinds of different ways that we're formatting data and mapping things in different fields. So we want to take on as much work as we possibly can because we can move a lot faster than a carrier's dev team. They might have more people, but I know what it's like building things in that world.
Yeah. Now, in what's it called? Credit's due. I think just about every carrier is now developing using Agile instead of the waterfall that they were using 10 years ago. So it's getting better. But
it's getting better. Yep, it is. Yep. I think that sometimes you got to empower people, right? Like you have to say, hey, you're going to run this project, make the decisions, and not everything has to kind of go up the chain. So even if you're agile,
that's the thing. I've spent a lot of time thinking about this. Why are carriers so conservative, so careful, and why is every decision made by committee? Okay. Right, it's a bane in everybody's existence. Like nobody's happy about the fact that we are so slow at making decisions. They are not, we are not, nobody is, right? So why is it that way? Well, the conclusion that I've come to is that if you look at the history of insurance, there's many insurance companies that have been around for 100 and some years, right? So some are older than the country, but many insurance companies died along the way, and the ones that died along the way generally is because they stopped underwriting conservatively. So the lesson that most of the big carriers learned after seeing many of their competitors die along the way is, we better be very conservative. My perspective, my goal in life, people think that my goal in life is to get every millennial to work in insurance. No, my goal in life is to get insurance companies to understand that, you know what, continue underwriting conservatively. I'm okay with that, right? I understand the need for that. But let's be progressive in IT, in hiring, in talent management, talent development, like in the other things that don't have immense risk. Because the thing with underwriting, right, I'm taking $600 and I might end up paying $1 million. So you have to be super conservative.
Yep.
But in the rest of it, let's lead.
And even in the IT space, you can be conservative and progressive, at the same time. So
How so? How do you do that?
yeah, so what you do is you invest heavily in automated testing, for one, and a very quick QA and
Okay.
continuous deployments and things like that, right? So you want to have your developers be able to build something, or dev teams be able to build something and put it in and be able to run a test, a full suite of tests across your platform in less than 10 minutes and say, okay, this is not going to break anything. Let's move it up.
I'm guessing historically, like at Principal, when you were there, when you arrived there, I'm guessing that you made the
Yeah.
change, and then
Well,
for 3 weeks, actual humans would try to break it.
actual humans would try and break it. It's because the platforms are so diverse. You have a lot of legacy platforms, still running COBOL and all of these old languages and things like that. And then you have new things, and the automated testing tools just aren't as easy, but it's still possible. You need to invest in those tools. I think Principal actually does it pretty well. When I was there, they do it pretty well.
Actually, yeah,
Um,
I'm not super familiar.
yeah,
I'm a PNC guy,
yeah. So
I know
yeah,
Principal as the steakhouse.
yeah, yeah. At the top of the 801
Exactly,
Grand,
my
right?
favorite steakhouse in the country.
Yeah.
That's what I know Principal as.
But I think these other companies, everyone needs to be investing in automated testing and making sure that like Rocket Referrals, man. When we deploy code, I can guarantee without a shadow of a doubt that it's not going to break something, because we have thousands of tests that we've written, and Rocket Referrals code compared to some of these carriers is like this small. So I know that what I'm talking, like, they have a lot of tests to write, but it's very, very important, and you can move a lot faster.
So basically, I can tell you, I can tell your CIO what any line of code does,
Yeah,
without having to spend a week digging for documentation or anything.
yeah. That's
Okay.
that's the other thing. Documentation is important, of course, but we're going down a rabbit hole of coding here. This is fun.
So I started my college career at Iowa State as a computer science major.
Okay, cool.
I couldn't survive the math, and
Yeah,
I didn't like the programming, so
yeah,
I ended up in management information systems.
yeah,
So I can talk the talk,
yeah.
but I've never worked in the IT side.
I think it's really good. I feel like every insurance carrier, honestly, any business that has some type of technology needs to know what they're talking about.
I 100% agree. Uh, Tori, it's been great. It's been really really great. I've got
Yeah.
to say, I'm so used to, and I don't want to crap on any prior guests, but I'm so used to tech co-founders who are, I don't know, hard to interview. Right, like they know the
They're
technology, but or on
yeah,
the other hand, so sometimes you get the VP of growth, and like he's a marketer who doesn't really understand the need that they're trying to fill, or whatever. So it's been a lot of fun to talk to somebody
yeah,
who is passionate about what they're doing, and this is not an acquisition goal or primary goal.
right.
So anyway, it's been really really fun. Thank you for coming
It is fun.
today.
Likewise.
Keep growing the thing, and as more stuff, as you guys do more and more stuff. Happy to have you back on the show.
Yeah,
Uh,
man. It'd be
uh,
great. It's fun to chat anytime.
it's I believe you're the first Iowa insurtech that we've had on the show.
Really
I
interesting.
mean, Nick Lamparelli ran it for a couple of years, and I am not as expert on the catalog as he is,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I can't think of any of the top of my head.
The interesting thing
Um,
about us, we like to fly under the radar. We are not out there trying to get attention. Like you said, this
well,
interview is just
you don't
for
need
fun.
to raise money. You're not looking to
Yeah,
IPO. You can afford
right.
to do that.
Yeah, exactly. We're here to serve our for agents. So that's who knows who we are,
Yeah.
and that's all that really
I,
matters.
I think that personality wise, just from this little while chatting with you, I think those traditional agencies that, number one, they're overwhelmed by the 1,700 different options, right?
Yeah.
Even when they decide, okay, we really have to invest in technology, they just have no idea where to start.
Yeah, that's true.
And number two, they don't want to deal with like a pushy sales process.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think that personality wise, you guys would be a fantastic place to start.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
For my Midwest agency listeners and other kind of like easygoing
Yeah.
agencies, where let's put it this way: if the most advanced thing you do within insurance is listen to Profiles in Risk and you run an agency, Rocket Referrals might be where you want to start your conversation about
Thanks,
bringing
man.
in technology. So thank you very much for your time. Great having you today.
Yes, thanks so much. Bye.